Grizzly Bear, nature's walking reminder that you're not the apex predator you think you are. Named for the grizzled, silver-tipped fur that makes them look like they've seen things, survived things, and honestly couldn't care less about your hiking plans. Born from the North American wilderness, weighing up to 800 pounds of muscle, claws, and zero patience. Those claws, 4 inches long. Not for show. For digging, fighting, and redecorating the landscape. They can run 35 miles per hour uphill. Yes, uphill. So that advice about running downhill saving you? Forget it. They're fast in every direction. Grizzlies fish for salmon like it's an art form, standing in rivers with the patience of monks and the precision of surgeons. One swipe, one meal. They don't hunt for sport. They hunt because they can. Before winter, they eat 90 pounds of food a day. That's not gluttony. That's preparation. Because survival isn't about being the biggest. It's about being the hungriest. And when the grizzly retreats into its den, another bear emerges from the bamboo forests. One that chose peace over power. Giant Panda. The bear that said violence is overrated and became a vegetarian icon. Black and white like nature's ink blot test. What do you see? Most people see adorable. Scientists see an evolutionary gamble that somehow paid off. Born in the mountains of China, surviving on bamboo, a plant so nutritionally empty they have to eat 40 pounds of it daily just to stay alive. That's like eating cardboard for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Forever. Their ancestors were carnivores. Fierce, capable hunters. But pandas? They looked at meat and said, no thanks, and committed to the least efficient diet possible. They have the digestive system of a carnivore trying to process grass. It barely works, and yet they've survived for millions of years. 12 to 16 hours a day eating. The rest, sleeping. No drama, no unnecessary movement. Just existing in the most chill way possible. They're not lazy. They're energy economists. Because sometimes the smartest survival strategy is knowing when not to fight. But not every bear chose the path of least resistance. Some chose the shadows. Sun bear. The smallest bear with the longest tongue and the worst reputation for tolerating nonsense. Named for the golden crescent on their chest like they're wearing the sun itself as a badge. Found in the tropical forests of Southeast Asia, where the heat doesn't quit and neither do they. 2 feet high at the shoulder, 60 pounds soaking wet, but equipped with claws that curve like scythes and a tongue that stretches 10 inches to raid beehives like a biological crowbar. They don't fear bees. They are the fear. Nocturnal, solitary, and brutally efficient. Sun bears climb trees like gravity is optional, ripping apart bark to find insects, honey, anything that moves or doesn't. Locals call them honey bears, but that's like calling a tornado a strong breeze. They're not aggressive unless you get close. Then they're very aggressive. Because when you're the smallest predator in a forest full of tigers and leopards, you don't survive by being polite. You survive by being unexpectedly vicious. And while the sun bear masters the jungle, another bear has conquered an entire continent through sheer adaptability. American Black Bear, the bear that lives in your backyard and you don't even know it. They're not always black, brown, cinnamon, even blonde. Nature's camouflage collection, spread across North America from swamps to mountains to suburban neighborhoods, where they've learned that trash cans are just free buffets. Smaller than grizzlies, but smarter in the ways that matter. They've adapted to humans better than most humans have adapted to them. Climbing trees when threatened, swimming across lakes when convenient, breaking into cars when hungry, not because they're brave, because they're practical. Black bears would rather flee than fight. They bluff charge, huff, clack their teeth. It's theater. A warning. Leave me alone and I'll leave you alone. Most bear attacks? Black bears? Most bear encounters? Also black bears. Not because they're more dangerous, but because they're everywhere. They've figured out the secret. Survival isn't about dominance. It's about flexibility. But flexibility only works if you have the tools to back it up, and one bear has tools that would make a Swiss Army knife jealous. Sloth Bear, the bear that looks like it lost a fight with a vacuum cleaner and decided to become one. Long, shaggy fur, curved claws, a face only a termite could love. Found across the Indian subcontinent, specialized for one thing, destroying insect colonies with extreme prejudice. They don't have upper front teeth. They evolved them away. Because who needs top incisors when you can turn your face into a biological shop vac? They close their nostrils, purse their lips, and suck termites out of their mounds with a sound that echoes through the forest like a malfunctioning engine. One meal can be 10,000 insects. They're not picky eaters, just thorough ones. But here's the twist. Sloth bears are one of the most dangerous bears to humans. Not because they hunt people, because they panic. Poor eyesight, worse hearing. You stumble on one, they don't run. They attack, ferociously. Because when you can't see the threat clearly, you assume everything is a threat. That's not aggression. That's terror with claws. And while the sloth bear masters the art of defensive violence, another bear has learned to survive by being overlooked entirely. Spectacled bear. The only bear in South America and the hipster of the bear world wearing glasses before it was cool. Those white markings around their eyes? Not just for show, every bear has a unique pattern, nature's fingerprint. Found in the cloud forests and high-altitude mountains of the Andes, living where most creatures can't even breathe properly. They're vegetarians. Mostly. 95% of their diet is plants, fruits, bromeliads. But that 5%? That's when they remember they're still bears, small livestock, the occasional deer, just enough to keep the reputation alive. Spectacled bears build nests in trees. Actual nests. Platforms of broken branches where they sleep like oversized, nearsighted birds. They're shy. Elusive. Scientists barely see them. Which is exactly how they've survived while their habitat shrinks year after year. Invisibility is its own kind of power. But invisibility doesn't work everywhere. In some places, you need to be seen to be remembered. Moon bear. The bear with a crescent moon on its chest and a tragic story written in its scars. Also called the Asiatic Black Bear, found across the forests and mountains of Asia, walking the line between survival and extinction. That white or cream V-shaped mark on their chest, a target that made them famous and nearly destroyed them. Hunted for traditional medicine, their bile harvested in farms under conditions that turned conservation into a battleground. They're excellent climbers, spending half their lives in trees eating nuts, fruits, insects. Bipedal walkers when they want to be, standing upright to look bigger, more human, more haunting. Moon bears are aggressive when cornered. More so than most bears. Because when your species has been hunted to the edge, paranoia becomes survival instinct. They attack more humans in Asia than any other bear. Not out of malice, out of memory. The scars run deep, in species and individuals. And as the moon bear fights to reclaim its forests, one final bear stands at the edge of the world where survival is measured in degrees below zero. Polar bear. The largest land carnivore, wearing white fur and carrying the weight of a melting planet. Built for a world of ice, snow, and seals that never see them coming. 10 feet tall. 1,500 pounds of pure predator. Fur that isn't actually white but transparent. Hollow tubes that trap heat and reflect light. Skin underneath, black. Absorbing every fraction of warmth the Arctic offers. They can smell a seal through 3 feet of ice from a mile away. They wait at breathing holes for hours, motionless, patient as death itself. One explosion of power, one meal that lasts for days. Polar bears don't hibernate, can't afford to. Pregnant females do, but the males. They hunt through the endless winter because stopping means starving. They swim for days across open ocean, powerful enough to cross 400 miles of water. But the ice is shrinking. Every year, a little more. And polar bears can't evolve fast enough to keep up with us. They're not symbols of climate change, they're casualties of it. The apex predator of the north defeated not by another animal, but by the world warming beneath its feet. Because in the end, every bear teaches us something different. The grizzly teaches power, the panda teaches adaptation, the sun bear teaches ferocity, the black bear teaches flexibility, the sloth bear teaches fear, the spectacled bear teaches survival, the moon bear teaches resilience, and the polar bear teaches consequence. If you made it this far, hit subscribe, drop a like, ring the bell, and tell me which bear you think is the true king of survival.